A report on a racism investigation at Grosvenor Girls High School. The school was in the spotlight in February this year after pupils accused the principal of racial discrimination. An independent panel was then tasked to conduct an investigation on allegations of racism and financial administration. For more on this story, let's cross live now to our colleague Simphiwe Makhaya. Simphiwe, what does the report say?
Well, Desiree, it's saying quite a lot of things, and one in particular is that indeed there have been instances of racism at the school and also instances of financial irregularities that have been performed by the management of the school. But I'm not going to waste time, Desiree, because I do have the MEC for Education here in KwaZulu-Natal, MEC Kwazi Mshengu. MEC, thank you very much for joining us. Just briefly unpacking the findings of the report.
It presents a very bad state of affairs at Grosvenor Girls High, where it finds out that racism is not just structural, but it's being institutionalized, and it's reigning supreme in the school, and the head of it is the principal as well as the deputy principals. It lists a litany of instances where the principal and the deputy principal unashamedly perpetuated instances of racism against the learners as well as the staff, particularly the general workers who are Africans. There are instances where the principal has deliberately ignored some reports from the staff as well as learners of racism, yet she took no action against the instances that were reported to her. She will encourage educators, for example, to recruit more white learners, because she claims that that school actually belongs to white people. She will speak disparagingly against the schools in township, and will tell African learners that you actually belong to those township schools, not in this Grosvenor Girls High, because it actually belongs to white. So the white authority in the school, as per this report, is actually dominating and is entrenched by the principal as well as the deputy principal. They have also found instances of financial irregularities, particularly to the region of about 3.4 million, which they have instructed us to further investigate in those, those allegations, although to take the investigation further based on that finding. There are clear cases of nepotism. A number of people who have been employed at the management level are related to either the principal and the deputy principal. They were employed against the SGP policies and without the knowledge of the SGPs. Some have actually had their contracts converted into becoming independent service providers, charging exorbitant fees at an hourly rate, and even charging fees that are, for hours that they have not worked for. So basically, the report confirms the allegations that have been raised against the principal and the deputy principal, and we're happy that the ground that they covered is quite large. Wide, because they included, or rather, they even received testimonies and evidence from past learners as well as other parents who are not necessarily members of the SGP.
What is going to happen to those two, principal and deputy principal?
The principal remains on suspension. The report recommends, and we have accepted, that the principal should be charged as well as the deputy principal for the instances of racism, but also for financial irregularities. It recommends that there must be immediate termination of all those who were employed by the principal and the deputy principal who did not have qualifications for what they were employed. But I have also directed legal services to lay a complaint with the Human Rights Commission against the principal and the deputy principal on the issues of racism. We have forwarded the report to the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal with a strong motivation that a commission of inquiry be instituted to investigate these racial allegations in all our schools in the province, so that we don't operate on a hit and miss basis. We want to approach this matter comprehensively, because now at least we have a basis by an independent panel. But this commission of inquiry, in our view, will also help us to develop some kinds of norms and standards so that we prevent the reoccurrences of such instances in the future.
The allegations that you are referring to, MEC, as you are rightfully putting it, that they are widespread in other schools as well. There are issues, but you say the racism is institutionalized. Is this going to solve the problem?
Well, we just have to confront it head on. the racists must have no space in our schools. That's the bottom line. In fact, they must have no space in our society. So we must do literally everything, acting on the powers that we have as authorities, but also as general members of society, to root out those who perpetuate instances of racism. And want to use Grosvenor as an example. To say these are the findings and this is how we're going to act, so that we send a clear message to all other racists who think that they can perpetuate incidents of racism in our schools. But this Commission of Inquiry will help us to get to delve deeper, because we continue and we have been receiving other allegations from different schools. Now, what will not be possible is for the department to institute a similar inquiry like Grosvenor to each and every school, because it's going to be costly, it's going to take time. That is why now we need a comprehensive approach. Hence our recommendation to the Premier to say, if you can help to appoint this Commission of Inquiry, it will be able to open up for all those who have suffered, past as well as present learners, including staff members in our schools, and will then be able to deal with the issue comprehensively once and for all.
Thanks so much for your time.
Siyabonga.
That's the MEC for Education in KwaZulu-Natal, MEC Kwazi Mshengu, giving us basically a breakdown in terms of the findings of that investigation, which was, which was undertaken by the independent panel investigating allegations of racism. It's back to you in Johannesburg, Desiree.
Simphiwe, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on this development.